justice, people are poor.
Can I?
Yeah.
If I may? I have a history with cable television, going back as far as 1977. I entered on the intern level, went into apprentice, became a journeyman, and I taught supervisors who came underneath me how to install, service, and repair, as well as worked in the maintenance department. My experience with that is that what you just stated about them wiring up all of these homes, they spend that money for the prospective customer. So it's a prospect. That's the reason why they wire everything, because if they don't, the cost would be too high just to wire for one or two people in the building.
Yeah, there are economies of scale.
Yeah, so it's a prospect concept. If it's there and they want it, it's available, and we get paid. Delayed gratification, we get paid later for what we spent out, that we might have this business coming in. I just wanted to say that about what about your statement.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So where does that leave us? Do we demand, or have they considered that issue that they should allow everyone for a basic box rental fee, let's say of $5, something that at least they recover their cost of the box, but let everyone have the option of taking our channels if they can't pay for the rest.
Well, that's a large social order.
Let me just clarify this.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Willie, you're in the industry. Is it possible for Time Warner to send out our signal just for our 4 channels, unscrambled, so that you would not need a cable box to intercept that, just right over the wire, as it is, just a plain signal?
You need a box
May get to
because
that.
you have so many channels on the television.
Most of the public access channels, if you have a cable-ready television, you don't need a box, because the signal does not come out scrambled. But in order to receive it, you must be a subscriber.
Yeah, they got a subscriber base. That's one of the things that cable interest is so interesting, because they can, it's like the electricity. You can turn off your electricity if you don't pay. It's a way of monitoring. It's a way of accumulating capital. So that's their business model, and it's something. And one thing you say about that problem about the inequities, economic inequities, and so forth, is a large one. We want to address them in a certain kind of way. But even if they can't, one thing is within public access, they would, or somebody who's homeless, living in a dumpster, could come. Let's say he's got a good narrative, and he could come and produce a program and have it carried out all around the world, and the cost would be zero to him for producing television. And you want to keep it open to where everybody can produce and not be concerned with if they got the money that it costs in order to underwrite a production process. They can do it. That's another aspect. Apart from the general inability, it's a lack of an economic model that gives economic justice. It's something we want to work toward.
But look, let's flip it around. You
Okay,
keep talking about a producer. I want to hear about the consumer. Because you see, it is the consumer who is sitting in the hospital bed that can't pay for it. There's that consumer that's sitting at home who needs to see Flo Rice's show on senior rights.
Yeah, God bless you.
All right?
Yeah.
And does the pickup, is there an obligation due to Homeland Security, just a basic right in the city under a franchise for us to receive the signal?
Make that point, Dean. Make that point. It is unique that there is a franchise agreement where serious money is taken from the retained earnings of a corporation, paid back, in order to open it up to the people. And it's open to the people of Manhattan, everyone. That does not exist in any other aspect of the history of communications on this planet. We ought to see that as unique. Underwriting the realm within which we are, I would suggest, because we want to go for the big picture, we want to go for maximum effect in improving the human condition.
Suggest in the contract that they add that provision with a minimum deposit for the box, if needed. If not needed, that it go direct.
Or a public access subscription rate.
Right.
$5.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
like
go
a dollar.
just talk.
Look, I like to wait my turn,
Yeah, oh, I know. You're such a gentleman
okay?
in such a harsh, harsh world. Thank God for you all, setting the tone for us all.
Let me explain.
Yes, do.
No harm meant, but I came here for an ACAP meeting, and based on the material that I read, the nature of this meeting should be focused on organizing the ACAP.
We're trying to
Now,
do
I have a
that.
suggestion.
Yes, sir.
And getting back to the ACAP, you don't, as producers, I don't think you need to charge people to become a member.
No, definitely don't want to.
Simply because if you structure it right under a nonprofit status and you operate it, what word am I looking for? Where it's nothing, where everything is visible.
With transparency.
If you operate it transparency,
Well, we're making a recording for the world of this.
it opens,
We're the closed room, and we're making.
it opens the door
Yeah.
that when they see the validity of what you're doing, funding and sponsorship kicks in to help you do those things that you need to do for the organization.
Yeah, I don't think ACAP should be adverse to being able, if somebody wants to, let's say, or a foundation wanted to do it, but for the membership, it shouldn't be blocked by that entry-level need to pony up money. And that's the thing that I think applies to producers, should not have to pony up money to produce a program either. But that's just part of a philosophy that I thank you for
But
that.
however, we should look at the model of MNN and how it operates differently than all the other 5 boroughs.
Or what about across the country, Willie?
Well-
There's 3,000, Willie, out there in America.
He's starting just from Manhattan.
I'm talking about the area that I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know that in the Bronx, you have to pay for your education in producing a program. Whatever you want to learn, there is a class and a fee.
Okay, why is there a fee?
That's up to Bronx.
No,
I haven't researched that. But in Brooklyn, it's the same thing.
Okay.
I'm not too knowledgeable about Queens, but Manhattan is the only model where you don't have to pay to learn to do what it is that we do.
Wait a minute, let me just interject here for a minute. There is a franchise agreement where money comes to the organization for training, material, operating costs, capital costs. The money is there. Why should they have to charge for the people they're supposed to be serving? That's the question I would like to ask anywhere where they're charging producers for anything. When the money comes to eliminate exactly that, because it's coming from the cable company itself with sufficiency to meet all the costs that they need to operate with in a way that nothing is charged to the producer. I'm just setting that out to the people who may be down in Texas or other parts of the city where people are ripping it off.
Well,
Or it's inadequate understanding or inefficiency of the managements of places where they're going to those kind of things. I would say I think it's legitimate for producers to ask, why are you charging our fellow producers for something that you're getting money from the cable companies to do? That's a legitimate question for us to pose to the people.
Let's go back to Willie's question.
Keep it
What's
open
the purpose
to-
of this meeting? Is to organize a committee for...
Put items on the table, make decisions on those items. Are you going to charge membership? How is it going to be structured? You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
What deems you to be a member if you say you're going to join? How do you stay connected? You understand what I mean? In other words, I can tell you that I'm going to join your organization, but there should be something that you give me that I should know what my obligation as a member is expected from the organization that I'm joining, not monetarily either.
Okay, I understand, yeah.
And that's the model that MNN has,
Well, could I
which
see...
is the reason
Okay.
why I work with you the way I do.
Mhm.
There is no charge. You're learning free, so you don't charge with the education that you got free of charge.
And they can do it because they get the money to operate from the franchise agreement, and we're coming up to franchise agreement in September this year that'll set a template for 10 years out.
But I'm only saying that model
Is unique, for one thing. It doesn't exist in any other part of the communication industry.
should be looked at and possibly duplicated for the members that's going to become members of ASCAP. I mean, ACAP. I'm sorry.
Well, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, but what it's like? Take the model. Have anybody been watching that thing on HBO about John Adams? It's great series on John Adams, the foundation of this country. You had to have a Declaration of Independence of what the principles were that you were putting forth before you have a constitutional convention. You got to get it straight. What is public access all about? There's not been an adequate enunciation of the uniqueness of either public access as an institution, which is very unique in the history of the economy of this country, and we should celebrate that. We talk about Sidney Dean. He was one of the founders of this thing and set it up. He was one of the founding fathers along about 1970. We should celebrate the uniqueness of that and link it to the broader issues confronting our economy and the world economy, because we could inform the economy, and we ought to try and have a maximally beneficial effect in improving the human condition planetarily if we can. We should reach for as expressive, have as much influence positive as we possibly can, and not sell ourselves short is all I'm trying to say. We ought to get our facts and principles right, our principles right, before we try to set up a structure in stone.
Okay.
All right, let me throw out something on the table because I'm going to be leaving.
Yeah, he's got to leave it.
I think
So do I.
what I would like to see in this membership is that we also, I see it in M&N. Bring it directly to my attention now. M&N has been courting the consumers of public access in a roundabout way, in not going, they've been putting out their own message to the very consumers to back them.
Okay.
Why is it, I mean, I believe that we should also be reaching out to our consumers, the same base, to join our organization, because if it's so important to M&N to rally the consumers, then it must be in our best interest to rally the consumers to us.
Couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't
Exactly.
agree with you more. Absolutely.
100%.
Because it's to make it available to the people. We are closer to the people than the people at the administration.
No. What I'm trying to get to your point is,
The producers.
M&N is doing that right now. They are
Of course.
putting a whole campaign together.
Right.
So if they
Well, yes.
find it necessary to do it, then we, for whatever reason that we don't understand, we should be doing it, because we will learn, obviously, the more you have at the table, the power you have at bargaining.
Yeah, but that I think is the case. But we got another dialectic, because we got the administration. Some people think that you got to argue with the administration. I think we're in a position with a really good operation. Honestly, I think the M&N's great, and by and large. But what about the people where some mafia group comes in and takes over and starts running it for their own profit, taking that money from the paper corporation, throw the producers out, bring in ad agencies, go the whole way saying we've got to get money. So they should cast a light on that. Best practices should be determined for this very important institution. First, we ought to come and realize how important the institution is itself,
Right.
and celebrate that, because we don't. We don't do that nearly enough. People get all wrapped up in their own program only. They don't, the institution. We ought to celebrate the historical context. We ought to try and understand, is there something unique about public access that separates it from, let's say, the run-of-the-mill operation of the society. Is it got something new to offer? I think that it does. If we look into it, I've been looking into it. I think it's totally unique in the history of communication.
But we're here about organization.
But you don't do the organization in the constitutional convention sense until you've got the principles right first. That's what we're trying to do, and trying to find out at what level are we doing it. Are we just going to try and set up a ACAP or something where we can get the interests of the people, or are we going to try and set up something that can have a maximally beneficial effect on the human condition?
You're right.
That I think we're all committed to, and we have an opportunity to do that by our very example. Is what I'm trying to suggest. We ought to get our principles right, and the historical context, the uniqueness right, before we try to put something in stone about how we're going to organize.
We also have to strategize how we could have more leverage, because, for instance, at BAI, everyone is on the left, everyone, including general manager and administrators. They're all members of the left. But still, the producers have to have organizations and leverage to make their demands right and to prevent management from taking advantage of them or pushing them around.
Well,
So even though we all agree that management at M&N is progressive, we still have to, as I say, strategize so that we have sufficient leverage to demand our rights and our position. Because the fact that they're progressive is irrelevant. This is the story everywhere. They even had a strike against the Ethical Culture Society, a group of workers, against progressive management. It's happening all the time, you know. You have to demand your rights from management, regardless of what their political or social positions are.
But we're all in the same situation where you don't want to get all hung up on the fact, because public access as an institution, 3,000 across the country, that's real people power. That's a really important thing. Done separately. One thing that separates BAI or Pacifica from public access is Pacifica is listener supported. That's a different model than one where you have the cost met by the industry. So that you've got a clean slate. You don't have to be trying to work those market principles and everything. It sets it aside. That's what I'm trying to say. Public access is unique.
Another difference.
You can eliminate the money thing in terms of the people within the org, and that gives you breathing room and a vision that is maybe appropriate to the way the society is going, particularly when all these things are beginning to be done free all over the cyber world now. They need new vision, and it might come from us.
You know, another difference is that
the world.
WBAI, you can't tell them to put your show on their air. But here, we're able to have any producer to be able to have his work broadcast. So that's a big difference.
I think there's some limitations, that there are more people who would like to do it. Sidney Dean, who was really worth following, he was a really good guy. We had Eugenia Dean was here at the last meeting and so forth. He really was a unique and really good fellow. He was the one who was telling, he was City Club, Civic Society, also in the advertising industry, top of the biggest advertising company in the world. So he was very well politically connected and everything. And he said from the beginning, when all that was going on, about 1970, public access channels, public access channels, public access channels, public access, something set aside for the public, not for the educational institutions in the private and public sector, the private and public sector. There was a new thing emerging with civil society. Public access, it's for the people. That's unique. You've never had anything set for the people. That's an audience. But to where you're going to have a real interest in the people and setting up a way for them to participate in the process is unique. And the money is there, and they're getting billions of dollars. Billions of dollars through their subscription base. And that's a thing that should be, We should pay attention to that, and there's a link between the producers and the administrators and the industry, or the movement, as it were, that we want to be united behind. But at the same time, you don't want people walking around like martinettes who are going to run things at a management level, and the producers are like, you know, the wage slaves or something. You can't have that.
If we're going to have membership throughout the country, then we can't really have any standard other than just being a producer at their own local facility. That seems to be the way of determining a producer membership. But
if it's democratic, you're
Well,
going to want to have everybody.
my
Oh,
experience
one
is
last
that
thing.
we have people that want to be a producer and have another type of membership for people that we can encourage to become producers.
Yes, all right, or a way for them to affiliate, perhaps. All right.
Well,
Rather
okay,
than-
and I'll
yeah.
add to that because
Yeah, go ahead.
I still say, after that brilliant speech you just made
What speech?
about the subscriptions that like propel this franchise, then we are truly missing the one person at the table we need. The person that pays the basic subscription that allows the franchise to operate.
Okay, that's the
If
market.
that
That's the market.
person is not, and that
That's
person
the market.
represents 600,000 phone calls to their city councilmen that say yay or nay on the franchise agreement through their city council members.
Yeah, but that's a market thing.
If I may.
No, it's not a market. It's a
It is.
voice.
If I may.
It's a voice.
Yeah, let Willie talk. Yeah, just pipe.
If I may.
Just, but this is a town
Let me
meeting.
just show you a perfect example that what Dean is saying, we already have it at the table. Do you have cable, Harold?
Of course.
He's at the table already. Do you have cable, Dean?
No.
Do you have cable? So we got, do you have cable?
Two.
So we,
Three.
You have
I got
so-
3 cables.
yeah, I got cable too.
Mm.
So we have what you're talking about at the table already.
Yes,
No, but he's talking
I'm
about
adding
socially.
600,000 voices.
But okay, but the thing of it is,
Well, that's interesting.
the thing of it is, you're cable subscribers.
Of course.
He's saying we need them at the table. And I'm just pointing out that because you're producers and you're subscribers, what he's talking about coming to the table, we already have.
We're here. Yeah.
Now, we can always open the door for other, like you suggested, for other people who are not producers to get involved. But what kind of membership will they have?
Well,
So to speak.
public access's charge was to make it available to the public,
Okay.
not to a special interest group.
Yeah.
It's to everybody. It's supposedly now.
I'm
Wait a minute,
There's a
just to
problem.
clarify what he
I'm
just
with
said,
You
I
have
really
to
like the
leave?
fact.
Willie, you have to leave right away.
Yeah, for 9 o'clock. I'm 6 minutes overdue.
Okay, you gotta go.
I just
You
want to
gotta
say that
leave.
was brilliant because I think that when you do sell this organization, I think you should identify yourselves as subscribers.
Thank you.
Okay, Willie, we'll
Willie,
see.
it was a pleasure.
Willie, glad you could come by.
All right.
We'll see you.
I'll
we'll
leave
see-
with you.
He's leaving. He said he had to leave at 9 also. We'll see you tomorrow.
Is it 1:30 or 2?
2 o'clock.
Okay.
It's all set up. We got a guy coming from Star Wars.
That meeting was worth
Okay.
it, just to hear the word that
and
you're all
gentlemen,
subscribers.
I said to you,
Okay.
we're just talking. We're going to continue rapping for a while. Glad you could come.
No,
Try and come.
this is off the this is off the record.
It's not.
Don't look at my
Nothing's
butt.
off the record. This is
Look at
transparency.
my butt.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's brilliant for you guys to have something. I think I would like to see an open mic at M&M and have you guys address the administration as subscribers.
We're doing.
Not as producers, as subscribers.
We thank you for your input, Mr. Adams. And I'll go back to
And
Massachusetts.
shake the very columns like Samson.
Yes.
Bring the Philistines to their knees.
All right.
ABC, CBS,
Willie, we'll see.
CIA,
Glad you
FBI.
came by. We're having a group come over here that wants to on Saturday night here. So I'm going to be sending you a message about it. It's for Sangita.
Okay.
It's going to be a gathering, a lot of jazz guys and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can make it Saturday after
It'll
7.
be a party?
It's going to be kind of party and a chance for him to rock and tour. He's really special.
Okay.
So I'll send you a notice about it.
That's the 19th.
That is the 19th.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Ciao.
Ciao, Dean. And then we're gonna have the general meeting of ACAP on the 28th, Monday here. Okay? And then we'll set up another meeting for May for this committee. It's probably going to grow.
I think so.
Okay. Thanks for coming by, Dean.
Please.
No, he's got a thing with his knee.
Put on the other thing.
So long. It's good to see you, dear. Glad you could come with the Reverend. Okay, get on safe.
Let me see more.
Okay, good. See you tomorrow, maybe?
Thank you, Reverend.
Okay, we better get back to our meeting. Okay, good night.
Thank you, Reverend Stokes.
Reverend, he is. I saw him. He gave a thing. He was so great. He said, do you remember Green? You weren't there, Jackie Green? Remember Jackie? She was a lovely lady. She passed, black lady. She always had this wonderful smile, and they had a service for her. And I didn't realize that Willie was a minister. And he was dressed to the nines. He looked great. It was like in a pulpit. And he says, and you remember that smile, Jackie's? And I did. It just went right through me. I remember she had a lovely smile in a way. And he said, now we got to take that spirit, and we got to spread it around. We got to spread it around. And he was so inspirational. I was so proud of him as a Baptist minister, that kind of thing. But this is the sort of thing that I think there's a chance to have a real influence in a positive way. And that's what we're trying to do here now. But and I think we ought to be trying to have a maximal effect on things. There's an old Scottish expression, you might as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb.
Yes.
You might as well go get, like that. We might as well try and have as maximal an effect as we can rather than just go for something that isn't so, and I think we got to get do you think we're at a stage, what do you think, Charles? We're at a stage where we have to get some principles right, or the context in which what we're talking about is a very multivariate, very multifaceted thing, really. And we ought to get the appreciation of the history, what's the roots, what's the context that we're in, right before we try to set things in stone organizationally and so forth. Or what do you think?
One way, I try to build new things.
I know you do.
And like today, I'm working on setting up colleges, free colleges throughout the entire country. But I'm focusing on one.
Yeah.
And I actually have a town in mind because a specific town is now, I'm dealing with them to possibly be appointed as their town attorney general.
Oh, wonderful!
So I was thinking that
spell out a little bit about the attorney general,
sure,
Carl, because that was a great idea. How important the attorney general could be for the rights of people rather than the obligations.
The attorney general of any state is a tremendous office.
Right.
And the New York State Attorney General is really the second most powerful elected official in the country.
Right.
In the country.
Right.
Because he raises his own money through lawsuits. Right. He doesn't need any new statutes. He doesn't need the approval of the governor or the assembly or the Senate. He doesn't need any legal opinions. It's really a self-contained person, one person who has 50% of the political power of New York State in his own hands.
That's what Mr. Spitzer
And that's what
had.
Spitzer had.
Yes.
And then he gave it up and became a lower... he went to a lower office. He became governor of New York State, and he had to share the political...
Is there anything going on the initiative thing you were doing that
I'm
had that philosophy involved in it?
Yeah, I'm working on the initiatives. I've got, like one initiative is that New York City would be required to post on a website every check, every payment they make to anyone.
Good.
That would be transparency. Another one that I was trying to adopt is to outlaw congestion pricing.
Outlaw it as a matter of...
To make it illegal. But they've already, the Senate and Assembly have rejected the concept anyway.
They've rejected the concept that they haven't made it beyond the law.
Well, it's now not the law. So that's okay.
How is it working in London?
They tripled the fee from $8 to $24 or $25
In
within
London?
a few months. Yeah.
So what's the result?
Well, the result is that no one goes to London anymore, so it's a great success. Except the merchants lose their business.
That's what I was saying.
You know, it basically congestion pricing creates a beach, a Manhattan beach for the rich. It's similar to what New Jersey
Yeah, it's
tried.
like a form of gentrification.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yeah,
It
sure.
it makes
Everything
it
is,
too costly for the commoner, like
Yeah.
you and me. The
Right.
commoner can't come into New York because they they police them when they come in. So
Right.
that leaves New York for the rich. It's not right. It's like a beach on New Jersey saying for their residents it's a penny a year for you to be a member of our Atlantic City beach. But for any non-resident that comes in, they have to pay $100 a day. So that's illegal because you're really creating a barrier, an economic barrier from access. And this is government, this is property that anyone should be able to go to. But when the municipalities set up these economic gates, these barriers, then you are setting up a private beach for the residents, and it's not right.
I'm
And I
seeing
think
an
it's illegal.
analogy with public access. I'm not sure if that's right or not, but
Well, so I was against it, but one thing I would like to see them do for congestion is to put in a traffic controller during the rush hour at 1,000 busy intersections and a traffic ticketing agent, an enforcement agent, so that when the person goes into the intersection and blocks it, they immediately get a ticket, and that ticket will pay for the enforcement and keeping the traffic
you
moving.
mean if somebody goes in an automobile?
And they stop. The
Yeah,
bus stops right in the
gridlock,
middle.
gridlock,
The
yeah, yeah,
So in the period of the rush
Let
hour,
the Reverend pass.
in the rush hour
I'm
period,
sorry, I have an upset stomach.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Can we get you anything? You want
No,
help
no,
or
I'm
something, sir?
fine. I will just get home.
Oh, you want to leave?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got a stomach problem.
Well, I'll be here next time for sure.
Joe,
Okay.
thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Or maybe we
Reverend,
should thank you.
Reverend.
Thank you.
Joseph, thank you very much. I'm sorry about the leg.
Well,
You're gonna
what
go-
can you do? I tried, right?
No, you got that. He's got a little problem with his leg, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going
I
to
want to
sleep
say
that
goodbye
way
to the
today.
Reverend.
No.
Okay.
Okay, Joseph. I don't know. I don't.
Sure.
Because I would do it for free. Have you on the humanistic show
Okay.
on BAI. I would want you to be on the
Oh
humanistic
yeah, by all means, he's a
I'm a
treasure.
very unique humanist.
He is a unique. He was.
So was Willie in the back room doing the equipment when you and I were on the show one time?
Probably.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
so, yeah.
probably. Yeah, he probably would have been. And see, everything's voluntary.
The other day.
Everybody's voluntary like that, and
It tells you who
that's
I
a
am.
different kind of context. And
It's required by the rules of MNN. You can't pay anyone.
Tells you who I am.
well, yeah, see that's what they do, and you're not supposed to make money.
That is correct.
Now that would say that's against human nature.
Yeah.
And then also people would say, well, I can't be doing anything if I'm not going to realize. I got to pay rent. I got to make money for what I do. And if you have something that goes against that, or sets up an alternative way for those things to be met, people just find it almost abhorrent. A lot of people, and then people that are really hard pressed have a hard time. There's a lot of moral
I just would
context.
like to say one thing.
Yes, please say it in
On
the
the
camera. Say it so that people
Now
can
you're
see.
on the camera.
Reverend Joseph's got stomach trouble. He's got to leave, but
As
he
a
gets
producer, I produce only one film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very unique film which may actually stir up the public more than some other films. It's called Jesus on Broadway, and it's a radical presentation of Jesus as a humanist,
Uh-huh.
as a mythical person.
Yeah.
But when he comes back, what he's saying and how he is the antithesis.
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 Yeah. To Hitlerism, Christian or Jewish fanaticism. I didn't have the Muslims in it. But he's first coming as the old Jesus. And telling the people, you have it all wrong, and I never said these things, and what I meant was like this and this. And then he talks about his relationship to prostitutes, and he gets the biggest orgasm you have ever heard on television. Jesus has to get a big orgasm.
Yeah.
And then he comes back. The second coming, he comes back as a scientist and is confronting the whole theological irrationality very powerful, so that it's really dangerous to show it. But I have it, and I have never published it, and I just showed it only, in some private sessions. But
How long is it?
well, right now it's 2 hours.
2 hours, right?
But it can be cut down to 1 hour. But it has to be, because what it was really played for 4 months as a theater.
Yeah. You did the acting.
I appeared in 5 different roles.
I've never seen it.
No, you will
I want to see it bad.
Well,
Well, did you see what YouTube just did?
What
They
they boosted.
made it 10 times the size.
I'm hip, brother. It's
10
now
times.
1,000. You got a
Yes.
gigabyte.
Yeah, a
I haven't
gigabyte.
figured out how to
Does
do
that
bit
mean
rate.
that the minutes are, you can have any number of minutes within that, or is there a limitation on minutes?
I think the limit is still 10 minutes, as far as I know. I think that's going to change. I think it's all coming out of the lab. Did you hear that the YouTube now is, instead of 100 megabyte file,
yeah.
it's 1,000 meg. It's a gigabyte. They just changed it about a couple
10
weeks
times,
ago.
it went up 10 times.
10 times. So
Then you have a much better,
much better,
quality.
better quality
I
image.
noticed that, and I didn't know that.
Not
Yeah.
as compressed.
Do you know Judith Molina?
Love Judith Molina.
Well,
She's a
she's
great good friend of
she's,
mine.
She
Oh, Judith Molina,
and
yeah.
her husband,
Wonderful.
Julian,
Yeah.
they are both
Living
Humanists of the
theaters.
Year of our church.
Yeah, wonderful.
You
Yeah.
know? And she should see that film too.
She's seen it or has?
She hadn't seen it yet.
She should. But you're
But
close
she
friends
just,
with.
she just gave me her private telephone number
Oh,
so
good.
that I can reach her.
They're down.
Maybe we can somehow combine it so that she would come here or what.
Well, you mean
Well,
to
I
show
will
it
have
or something?
To show the film.
Well, whatever we can do to get the film out. You don't want to put it on television or
Well, first
you don't want to put it on YouTube. or
First,
anything.
you have to see it.
Yeah.
Because he's doing amazing things there. He's talking about idolatry.
Well, he is you.
Well, that's not me. I mean, I'm just.
You were acting.
Acting, sure.
Yeah, but that was you,
Yeah,
Lawrence
yeah,
Olivier. Show us a little bit. Do you use Stanislavski? How do you do it? Do you get into the character or the theme first? No, I'm just
Well, I
kidding.
get very strongly in the character.
Did you
of,
see how he talked in the third
the
person? He talked
character
about
of Hitler.
Yeah.
Because it starts with Hitler
Yeah.
speaking in German and like a real Nazi.
Oh, I want to see it in the worst kind of way.
Yeah.
It's like a real
Yeah.
performance.
It is.
And it was
a unique
performed on
thing.
off Broadway.
It was for 4 months.
Oh, I really want to
We
see
built
it.
the whole theater for that purpose.
What should we do with this? You've talked to Judith.
I don't
You could have a
know.
showing at the Living Theater. They're down on Stanton Street now.
See, first maybe.
Did you know Julian?
Sure, I knew
Oh, you
Julian.
did, yeah.
Oh,
Julian.
Julian. What?
I did a program with him, and it was only about a week before he passed. The only time I met him in Briga was in Terre.
About 40 years
I wasn't
ago,
aware.
I
Julian
just read about Julian.
was the first person who wanted to
So it's
smoke
about
pot.
beautiful pictures.
Really?
Wanted to
I
what?
refused.
To-
I was too straight for
He
it.
he
He
wanted to.
wanted me to smoke pot.
Oh, they would smoke pot.
And I
How was
too
it? Was
straight.
it?
No, I
Oh, you
didn't
were
do
too
it.
straight.
I
You didn't do it.
I didn't.
Oh, come
But
clean.
we were
It's on
straight,
television.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't do it. I didn't inhale. No, no.
I didn't inhale. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah,
No.
that's funny. Yeah.
So,
But whatever we can do with that, we want to do.
well, you see, this could stir up a public reaction more than anything
Did you
else.
talk to Judith about it?
I just indicated. to her.
Indicated. Okay.
But,
Well, I would love to see it.
yeah, okay.
And
I will.
if you want to try and set up some sort of public showing or something, I don't know what you're
No,
thinking.
no. It should not. I mean, you can
Figure out what
invite-
to do with it.
You can, if you would want to, you can invite some of the people who would be interested in it, and
Have a and
you
show it
can
on the
show it
television.
yeah, show it on television. Yeah.
Well, maybe we could try to set something like that up,
yeah,
Joe.
yeah,
Joe.
that would be good.
Sure. I mean, that would be really good. No chance you're going to maybe want to come over here Saturday, I guess. That would be a lot.
No, this Saturday someone is in.
Okay. That's going to be a lot of other things this other guy.
Yeah, Friday I'm giving this lecture, on the green paper. You got
Friday.
an invitation.
Friday, I cannot come.
Oh, you don't have
I have to go to.
You know it anyway. But it will be very unique, and I will have a video of that.
Okay.
You
So-
can do a version on public access.
You've never thought to do a program down there, have you? You haven't thought to be a producer at M&M?
Well, I would, but you see, I'm working at so many
Yeah, I know.
projects.
Yeah, I
and
know.
I don't know what to do first.
Mhm.
And,
Well, we've got to help trying to facilitate.
I would like to become a producer.
They're going to be able to have more room. Those 4 channels we got could become 12 easily. And there can be an expansion for lots of room and everything. I think there's... Anyway, I'm sorry you got in a tummy ache.
Well,
huh?
I have to go.
If they
Okay.
need money, in order to do twice as many channels, they need more money. I think.
Okay.
Well, okay. Oh, Joseph, give my best to your lovely
When I show it,
companion.
I'm sure also will come.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's figure that out. I mean, whatever. I really want to see it. We've never been able
I
to.
will call you about it.
Do you think we can think about doing a program with you where you show a clip or something? Would you want to try and do that, or do we want to do something
First
more
you have
elaborate?
to see it,
How
because
do
it's
you
quite
want-
a unique.
Well, how can I get it?
Well, I
City
will come
University
here and show it to you.
But just to
I'm
me.
going to
But you
actually
want to
set
want to come
up
a couple of
free
people,
colleges.
that's okay.
Okay, let's try and set something like that up. Let's try and set something
I will
like
call
that.
you next
Yeah,
week
talk
about
about
it, and then we will
your
see when it will be
concepts.
convenient.
Maybe Judith.
Sounds fascinating.
I haven't talked to her in quite a while. Hamden, you know Hamden Resnick?
It's really,
Yeah.
I only learned how to do it today, but I knew
Okay.
what I wanted to do. I could set up a $2 per hour college, but I now know how to set up a free college. A
Okay.
$2 per hour would be $1,000
Okay.
to live, but the guy that worked
Thank you.
said
We're
don't
going to
need
put
the
it
1,000,
together,
we can
and I
do it.
really thank you for your suggestion.
Did you go to City
First
University?
day,
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah.
And then we're going to have a meeting of the general ACAP meeting on the
Great.
28th, which is a Monday.
I had no other school in the
So that's
country
the
that
meeting
paid.
that's set. And,
And I rapidly went through that.
so you want me to walk,
The president of the
Okay.
student body went.
Okay,
to-
say hello to Allison.
Go out.
You can go right out, yeah,
It's
just
good.
push the
Very
button.
good.
Thanks enormously for coming. I'm sorry you got that problem with the leg. Hope it all comes
Did you
out
go to
well
Baruch?
tomorrow when you see. You going tomorrow,
Baruch,
Joseph?
CCNY, which one did you go?
Tomorrow, are you going to the doctor?
No, next.
So that's great.
Okay, well, I hope it
We
straightens
could
out.
have you on discussing the concept of,
Okay, thanks
the
enormously.
concept of free colleges.
Well,
We've just settled the problems of the world. We're going to set up free colleges.
okay, that's good. We can just, yeah, the MIT puts all their curriculum on the net now.
They don't put everything.
Oh, they don't? You
What
would
they-
know. You would
well,
know.
my son was telling me because, in fact, I have a friend that graduated from MIT, but is it the notes or is it the notes of the session or something like that?
I thought it was, I understood it was the whole curriculum, whatever they have, syllabus or whatever they have. You don't have the give and take, and everything, but I don't know why anybody would want to go to college. It's mostly a matter of getting a certification in order for you to get a job to earn some money and have the right to eat.
My concept is an equivalency college.
Yeah,
No
okay.
degree.
Like
because-
your law school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An equivalency college is one that would give you the same instruction, but it's live.
Mm-hmm.
Forget this online stuff. I'm talking about a local community
Uh-huh.
having a college live, free, for any person of any age.
And
No
practical
courses.
oriented? Practical?
A college equivalent program,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the same program you would get in any other college.
Liberal arts?
Yeah.
History? Philosophy?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Are you really talking about
Yeah.
that? Right?
Yeah. 4 years.
How are you going to, where's the faculty going to come from?
Locally.
Locally
Yeah.
certified people?
Well, see, the word certification, when you talk about, do you believe that teachers that are certified are better than a person who has learned physics and would you rather have a certified teacher teaching physics or a physicist?
Yeah, I would rather.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
not, don't go down
Well,
the
it
road of
sounds like
certification.
it sounds like autodidactic heaven, and people really, and then they could self-volunteer
No volunteer, the teachers get paid.
The teachers get paid. How are you going to get the teachers paid if it's not, if it's free?
I've learned how to
share it with the world.
I don't want to share
Oh,
it
you
yet
don't?
because I only learned it this morning.
Oh, I see. And the trademarks still are not right there.
The way that I was going to do it is to charge tuition of $1,000 a year, and I can run the school on $1,000 a year.
Yeah, you were saying.
The person I met with today, and I met with him because he said we don't need to charge anything, and I had him convince me that we can do it without charge.
Huh.
Interesting, very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. That would be.
Open to anyone. The
Well, see,
problem, you know what the problem is? That if you have to take a town, any old town, name a town somewhere. If you have that town open up a free college, the problem is you're going to have everyone from all over. You have to set limitations on who comes in for free.
You're talking about a physical space, lecture halls and everything.
No,
You're not just talking just online.
No online at all. Live, where you sit in a classroom and you ask questions. You have a teacher that.
Wow.
But don't forget, the teacher will come from the industry and be able, that they'll know the people and hire them because they taught them.
There's not a very good industry in, say,
Part of the curriculum
philosophy.
Would be, part of the curriculum,
There is no industry of philosophy.
That's one of the most important courses to have.
Yeah, but then what I'm saying, you say they come from the industry.
Well,
that sounds like
anyone. Look,
you know what I'm saying.
I do. Maybe we won't have a professor of philosophy, but still. But how many colleges have merely a master's degree candidate teaching those courses?
Oh, that they
Too
do it all.
often, right.
And the adjuncts.
Right.
Don't forget the
Exactly.
adjuncts. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think of the internet. I mean, with that, I think that. Well, go ahead and talk.
No, so you were in the Green Party.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
Good. That's a great party.
Yeah. I try to become.
Well, the adjuncts are really a rip-off because
Let me tell you what happened with the Green Party. I brand new walked up to the convention at the Green Party with only a 1 or 2 month after I had gotten 11 signatures in Binghamton, New York. I went to Albany, and I got 40% of the people of the nominating convention, 40% voted for me as Attorney General. I had all of the Buffalo candidates, half of the New York candidates. I came very close to winning, but it went to someone else. But I got the loudest applause of all because I sold them on the concept of the Attorney General.
No, right.
The town Attorney General.
Yeah,
And
right.
that concept is great.
Good.
In other words, every town should have its own Attorney General. And the Attorney General would be the enforcer of the rights of individuals,
Thank
of small
you.
business, of
That would be
owners, of
wonderful,
small
right?
people. They don't have anyone representing them.
There's no
They're
one
always-
representing them in terms of their rights.
That's right.
Only
Only their duties.
prosecuting them
Only
for
their
their
duties.
violations.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So we
That's
need
true.
someone to enforce our rights because we're losing our rights and we don't individually have enough money to go into a court to enforce them.
And does the Attorney General, by its office, its structure and everything, have that kind of a mission as
Yes, that is the
characteristic
mission.
of the Attorney
It's a
General?
civil function
Right.
because the criminal
Part of
function.
civil society?
The Attorney General up here lost his criminal function and it came down to the county level where they elect the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Attorney General at the local level, but for criminal only. They no longer
What
have a
about-
criminal function at the top.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Attorney General does not have a criminal function. He may oversee it, but he doesn't have the right to convene a grand jury. The New York State Court of Appeals, I think it was recently held that Spitzer or Cuomo does not have the right to entertain initially criminal proceedings. That's at the lowest, that's at the county level.
Yeah.
But I want to take the office of the civil Attorney General, the town Attorney General, and bring it down to where people live and where businesses are.
Right.
At the town level.
Yeah.
So that the person can walk into the storefront and talk to the Attorney General and say, you know what's happening? We have the banks that are charging this and doing that, and we have this and that, and they can do something, but at public expense.
At public expense.
Because you
Right.
and I don't have the money to go into court and try to fight for the things that we
I keep
need.
seeing analogies with public access,
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
or you know, an advocate for the
Analogy,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, with that. That's why. Yeah.
So I've been invited into a town, and I'm not going to mention the town, but I have one place that I believe is seriously considering appointing me as Attorney General. That'll be the
No
first town.
fooling,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh, I want to know that. I want to move to that town. I like Manhattan, but if you're Attorney General,
here's what is in store for the first town that gets me, and that is that I'm going to bring the appropriate lawsuits similar to what Spitzer and Cuomo were doing, but beyond that, and use the money to pay for health care for the residents of the town.
You're our kind of Attorney General, yeah.
And to reduce rent.
Well, they should have something like that, because I don't know, does the legal system well enough serve the poor or the indigent or anything like that? I mean, it seems to me it's not. And they should have something like that. And we're talking about the people, we're talking now, in part, there will be some people watching this, there will be this group in Austin that have signed on to ACAP. Yeah. And they are being royally, and when I asked Dan, when he was here, Dan addressed us, right? And I said, what do they do if somebody, and also I want to get from you the idea of malfeasance, the word. I want to find out the meaning of it and everything, because if a group of people, see, you got a public access thing, franchise money comes, they got a lot of money, they got a thing, they can set up a thing, and then if they violate, and there are no best practices that you can cast a spotlight on if they violate them. Word is that the new group came, took over, throw the producers out, or they don't serve the interests of the producer. They bring ad agencies in to use that good equipment to make ads for the industry, they're charging for everything, and so they're violating the spirit of public access, which is pretty close to what Manhattan Network tries to do.
I suspect.
How do you deal with that?
Number two, one way.
I mean, if you had an Attorney General, he said go to the Public Service Committee or something.
No, here's what you want to see. You want to see the contract, because the contract may spell out that the money is to be used for training, in which case you have a lawsuit.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay.
The problem that I see...
Well, talk to the people in Austin.
Okay, the
what
problem
can they
that I
do?
see... Well,
the producers.
Send a copy of the contract to me. I will look at it and tell you what I think the contract...
I'll put you in touch with the
woman. Or they can
woman.
read it for themselves. What does the contract say about how the money is to be spent?
Now, what if the people who've taken over don't want to make the contract available to them?
Then you can go into court, and through discovery, you can force them to supply a copy.
Okay.
You can subpoena a copy from the city.
What I'm trying to say, if you were Attorney General in Austin,
where
they're having a trouble, they would come to you, and you would
send me a copy of the contract. I'm looking into
No, I'm
this.
saying if you were in their town, you would be the kind of person that could go to bat for them.
Yes.
They don't have somebody that can go to bat for them
Only
anywhere.
At the top.
Only at the top. And they usually have to pay a lot of money.
And they wouldn't do it. They're too busy doing other things.
Well, do you understand? Say that again, because that's really important. And I think there's an analogy between what you're thinking and access.
The Attorney General of a state is one person, the most powerful person in that state, really. Better than a governor, because the Attorney General, especially if he's elected, 37 states elect the Attorney General, the others do not. Yeah. So in those states where he's elected, it's a real power. Because if the governor appoints you, then the governor can fire you. But if you're elected, then you stand apart and you can do your own thing and not care what the governor thinks.
Yeah,
but the problem is when you're at the top and you raise so much money, you owe so much to so many people, a little voice comes in from a small town and they say, we're having problems out here.
I've got trouble. I'm dealing with the big guy.
Nothing happens.
That sounds like
have a person in that town whose duty is really to help the people. And he will rise if he helps the people. He will become more prominent. There's a tremendous incentive now.
Built into the system.
Built into the system.
They've got this concept of ombudsman.
Well, they can't go into court. There's no money, they don't go into court. They make a phone call and they say, why don't you...
That's an ombudsman.
That's an ombudsman. There's no teeth. But an attorney general at the town level, and I'm trying to become a New York City attorney general.
Yeah, great. That would be so good.
That's a town attorney general on a much larger scale.
You'd have to have a very big office.
Not really.
To handle all the people.
Really.
You're not going to handle all the injustices that are operative in the day-to-day operation.
You have to pick and choose. You can't handle every problem.
Okay.
But if
see, the analogies of public access are just ringing through my head with the philosophy and everything like that. We can't handle everybody in New York.
That's correct.
in the production.
That's correct. But if
But
like
you
this
got a
town,
model that can lead toward that.
Take this
and there
town
can
in
be
Texas.
a growing of that. Yeah.
two people.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, if
happening
Austin,
down.
let's say that I was the city attorney general in Austin.
Yeah, you could.
One person came in and told me his neighbor keeps walking on his lawn. The next person that comes in and says that the local cable people are ripping us off.
Yeah.
Well, which one would I take?
You take the local cable.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you have to be selective. You can't take.
Yeah, but if
every
you, but you could have people that would be their assistants or people who would take it or could spread
Right,
it.
you have a screening
It's like an
process.
acorn, like he was talking about an acorn, it can spread.
Well,
And you want models
the
that will work
Attorney
for
General-
democratizing. You should hear his, you ever give him a call? You ever change phone call? Tell him, can you do it, Josh? When we call your number?
Yeah.
Can you do the thing that you do? The message you have on your machine. You call his number and he's away, so he's got his message machine. And when you pick it up and it rings, and it said, what does it say? Can you say it right off the top of your head now? With feeling into the camera.
You mean what it?
Yeah.
What it says now? It
Dysfunction.
says,
No, say it with feeling now. Really reach down into your soul and really project. Or maybe you can't remember what you
No,
said.
I'll tell you, I don't remember it word for word.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we want a society, well, our society is dysfunctional, and we need a healthcare system and decent, affordable housing at rents we can afford.
Better you call his telephone, because on the telephone he said it like Laurence Olivier. I mean, I'm ready to go to the barricade. He said, affordable housing in this country is dysfunctional.
Okay.
And, with feeling,
I'm going to
project.
copy it and memorize
Yes,
it.
those are memorable words. We could put them up. But he
Yeah.
did it. But anyway, that's the kind of the job.
I worked hard on that.
Yeah, that's
I
the
practiced
wonder.
it.
It's worth phone calls just to get it. You can record it and trademark that
I'll
something.
give Carl my
Okay,
card.
Yes, do
I
by
think
all
I
means.
did it
Exchange
once.
card.
I forget.
I made one on my computer, one card. Meanwhile,
But we're making, but we're going toward that. And I really want to do more with this,
yeah, Harold is right.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hits the spot.
Good.
when are you not going to be there so he can get your machine? You can just make the call and hear it. It's worth hearing your message.
Okay.
Because it's always, I always just, every time I hear that, I just say, boy, he belongs on the, on the big stage,
Yeah,
Pretty
right.
good.
Yeah,
But
How did you get your middle name?
yeah.
How did you get that middle name?
I gave it to myself.
What is the middle name? I don't even know.
Jericho.
Who?
Jericho.
Jericho. I didn't know that. I've never heard that. Do you have another card with that name? Let me get that. Anyway, so we have now, this is exactly the kind of thing I want to do in terms of getting at it. And I really think ACAP has got a chance of becoming one of the most influential institutions on this
Well,
planet.
absolutely. It's a network.
No, I really
It's
think
a
so.
network.
But don't we have to get it right?